Hello and welcome. My name is Joseph Arnold,
And I'm Aaron Bigeleisen.
and today we're going to talk about what every musician needs to know about numbness and tingling. This is a challenging area for a lot of musicians. Numbness and tingling can not only feel bad, but can interfere with your playing. So we're going to talk about what is the root cause, what's really going on here. It's often mysterious, and as well offer some tips, the keys to understanding and then relieving this kind of musculoskeletal discomfort for good. And before we get into it, though, we'd like to invite you to stick around for the end of this video because we have some of our very best tools available for you for free in a mini course. So please do stick around to check that out. You can also find that in the links below. Okay, so numbness and tingling. What's this? What's it like for a musician who has numbness and tingling?
Yeah, so I don't want to speak for you, but I definitely experienced it for myself. And my experience was it was like, what the bleep is going on?
Right.
It's part of it is it's okay. So I feel like I have to practice less. It's distracting me from the music and from being present. But also, like, why is this happening? I'm stretching and I'm doing yoga and I'm using my foam roller, and it still isn't really doing anything. So for me, there was this nebulous worry. It's like, is this going to get worse? Like, and what do I do about this? So all in all, not all that pleasant.
Yeah, I didn't even know you had numbness and tingling. Where was that?
Yeah, it was just like weird little weird voice things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oof.
So
Yeah, I would get it sometimes too. Aaron is a vocalist. I'm a violinist, and I would get like these two fingers would go numb sometimes, and yeah, other times I would get tingling. Mostly, my issues were just like chronic pain in the muscles.
yeah.
But I would definitely get these, and a lot of musicians get these kinds of injuries. So it doesn't really count as like pain to some musicians, but it can be painful, nerve pain, and like you can't play when your fingers are numb, or if there's this weird tingling, it's really distracting, and it can turn painful and reduce the amount of time you practice, and maybe make you wonder like, can I actually get ready for my performances? Will this linger through my whole career? That's a pretty distressing possibility. So, the good news is, it is possible to understand what's going on at root, and also to relieve it once and for all. And it's not so easy to understand what's going on from the traditional Western point of view on like what happens in our bodies. The root cause of numbness and tingling is hidden from view. It's not there's you could do X-rays, and I did these things. Like I went to I got scans and X-rays and all that kind of thing. And they didn't find anything. Did you ever do anything like that?
No X-rays, but yeah, going to an ENT and getting a voice scope and things like that, and going to speech pathology. It's like I'm experiencing these things like my tongue is tingling. It's like
Oof.
it's like okay, well I don't really know what to do about that.
Yeah. So these are things that are they feel really real. They are real, and yet they don't necessarily show up on scans or with the typical tools of Western medicine. And a lot of times musicians and other artists have don't get an understanding welcome from doctors and other healthcare professionals because these symptoms are so mysterious. So here we are. We're going to lay it out. What's actually going on here? So first you have to understand muscle tension. And muscle tension, we all have this. We all hold our muscles too tight sometimes. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, except if it's chronically held. And your muscles and other parts of your body don't like to be stiff. We're really meant for movement. And when you are holding some muscles too tight in some place or another, one thing that can happen is that the muscle gets worn out. And that's what happened for me in my, repetitive strain injuries. Tendinitis, carpal tunnel syndrome is like that. Another thing that can happen is that the muscles impinge on important nerves or blood vessels. And when that happens, then that's when the numbness and tingling can occur, because it's the pressure, the chronic pressure of the muscle tension on a nerve, on a blood vessel, stopping the flow of signals and blood. That's what causes numbness and tingling. So why is it that somebody would hold chronic muscle tension if it's muscle tension doesn't feel good? You'd think you might notice that, right?
Yeah. So Joseph, why would somebody do that? That seems like a very silly thing to do to be holding all that muscle tension.
Excellent jujitsu move there. So it's about habits. So muscle tension is a habit, and like other habits, it has two characteristics: it's automatic and unconscious. And so this explains, and you can actually hold an enormous amount of tension and just not feel it because of the habituated nature of whatever tension is happening. It's like people can get used to just about anything.
So just for fun, and if you notice some skepticism come up for you in this moment, you might just notice if you're holding excess tension.
Yeah, just notice your feet right now. Notice your back right now. Notice your pelvis, your neck. There might be some level of excess tension going on. And it's like why do you need to hold your shoulders up all the time? This is something that comes up very frequently. Oh, I notice my shoulders are up here, and then, okay, I'm going to relax, and then 5 minutes later, they're up there again. That's the kind of thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
And so in order to begin to relieve the numbness and tingling, you need to understand the workings of the habits of tension. And so to reiterate, habits have two main characteristics: automaticity and unconsciousness. And whatever approach that you have to relieving numbness and tingling has to get at these two characteristics.
So let's just find that really simply. So automaticity, it's just that, right? It's just that
Automatic.
Automatic.
It happens right away without even thinking about it.
And the second one, so it's unconscious. So what does that end up looking like?
It's like you don't even feel it. You're tense, but you don't feel it. And you can really hold an amazing amount of tension without feeling it. I was certainly this way. I was so tight in my body that I had all these injuries, and I didn't even realize it. It just felt normal. That's the kind of sneaky thing about this.
Yeah. So and if you want some proof in the pudding here, just notice what's happening in your body right now. So for me, I actually notice a little bit of unconscious holding, and like it's my job to be attentive to this. So you might just notice in this moment, if you notice your feet on the ground, you notice your butt in the chair, wherever it is that your butt is right now. If there's some unconscious holding that starts to undo itself.
Yeah, and you might notice times when your shoulders are up by your ears. Like, what's going on there? And you try to relax, and maybe your shoulders go back down, and then 5 minutes later they're back up there. So these are the kinds of things that we're talking about. It's it's this unconscious automatic thing that happens, holding too much tension. And if these kinds of things don't really show up on X-rays and scans and that kind of a thing. So it's hard to pin down what is actually going on here through traditional Western methods, let's say. So what do you actually need then in order to begin to turn this around? Because exercises don't change habits. If you do your exercises that you get from physical therapy, please do them if that's what seems appropriate to you. If you do them with the same kind of habitual tension that you might not even realize that you're holding, then you're going to be ingraining that tension more deeply. So you can bring some body awareness and the skill of relaxing even while doing difficult things to those exercises and those stretches. You'll get a lot more out of them. Right. So, what are the overall solutions here to numbness and tingling?
Hmm. Well, the first thing that comes to mind for me is just to notice that you are getting tense. Just to notice that you have a body in the first place and that it is getting tense sometimes.
Yeah, that sounds almost like too simple, too easy. Like, how is that going to do anything?
Well, yeah. So it's a good question. We a couple minutes ago in the video, we had this moment right where it's like, oh, well, just notice what's happening in your body in this moment. We can do it again, and you can just notice, even in the 3 minutes since you noticed that last, did the tension start to come back into your body?
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing is that if you actually are paying attention to what's happening in your body, the odds of you getting tense do decrease. It does decrease, and it does work.
Right. If you don't notice what's happening in your body, then you don't have a choice about what's happening in your body. And you could just be, well, could, very likely are, just running the same old habit loops of getting tense when you don't need to. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the thing about repetitive strain injuries, numbness and tingling, the problems caused by having too much tension is that you don't notice that you're doing it unless you notice that you're doing it. So number one big thing you need to learn, or the skill that you need to develop, is around body awareness. Mm. Checking in with yourself throughout the day. What's happening in my body right now? Mm. And the number two big thing, well, I guess, yeah, maybe there are three things. Number two is to begin to develop the skill of being able to let go of that tension when you notice it. And that is a skill. Relaxation is a skill
that you can learn.
And and the real skill around it is to be able to relax even in the most challenging moments of your life. In the midst of playing a difficult passage or other challenging or even stressful moment, like, how do you actually let go then? That's where you really start making some real progress in relieving these kinds of issues once and for all.
Yeah, and so one thing is that, yeah, when you learn that skill, you will feel like a badass. Mm. You will feel like a badass. You will, because you'll be in this situation that for most people might make them like really tense up or lose their cool, and you might even become more alive in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very empowering to be able to let go and feel better in those times when you normally would get really tense, or all that numbness and tingling or whatever would come back. So that's a skill, and you can learn that. And you also just need self-care tools, better self-care tools, how to take care of your body. Musicians are athletes, and so to be able to take care of your body in lots of different ways is an essential part of your toolkit as a musician. And so where is somebody going to go to find all this vital information?
If only there was a place.
Yes, if only. Too bad. All right, folks. See you next time.
Wait a minute, Joseph.
What?
There's something that's coming back to me here. Something about five something.
Oh, well, so here we go. We have a free mini course for you if you want to begin to learn some of these self-care techniques. Our mini course is called 5 Simple and Surprisingly Effective Techniques for Relieving Pain and Releasing Tension, even when practicing the most challenging music. So you can find the link to that below. It's free, it's 20 minutes. You'll get a little printout you can put on your practice stand of these 5 very effective, very simple things that you can do to help begin relieving that chronic tension that's causing the numbness and tingling that you may be experiencing.
And if you're looking to jump into immediate badassery, we also have a course. It's called the Magic Pause. So the Magic Pause is it's this single most effective tool for relieving and releasing tension in that moment when it's happening.
That's right.
And in that course, we're also talking about what is the root cause of tension in the first place. And and with this tool, how do we mitigate that?
Yeah, and you can sign up for our waiting list for that, again, using the other link below. And with those two things, you're going to have a whole suite of self-care tools and also that critical skill of being able to release tension in those moments when you normally get tight. And with those things, you're going to have a really great foundation for just being able to practice more, being able to feel better, and having some confidence that this numbness and tingling or other pain symptoms aren't going to come back.
Yeah. Well, if you like this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. And also, you feel free to check out the Soul Force Music podcast, anywhere where podcasts are found. I think that's it.
Yeah, and reach out to us if you'd like to know more. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. That's all for today.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Nice.